So last week I wrapped up a product launch that has so far generated over $10,000 in revenue for my business, $8,000 in direct product sales, and $2,000 in the new brand deals and mentorship clients I've acquired since. This is the largest launch that I've had so far in terms of immediate results. So in this video, I want to walk you through my exact strategy so you can replicate it for yourself and the lessons that I learned along the way. And regardless of whether you're selling oil paintings or an online course or a novel, there will be actionable advice for you to take in this video. I also want to say thank you to Kartra for sponsoring this video. So step one is your product. Before you even think about a launch, you need to make sure that your product is one actually worth selling. I have a few videos here on this channel about designing products and selling things and ideas for products, and I recommend that you check those out. But I think the most important thing to do here is actually validating your idea. You need to make sure that you are offering something people will actually want, be that your current audience or your ideal target audience in the future. You want to make sure if you're going to put in all this effort to design, create, and launch something, that it's actually worth selling. That time spent would be actually worth it. Because it's no use going through all of this effort if no one is going to be interested and buy your product. And there are 3 ways to validate your product idea. And the first one is to look at the popularity of similar existing pieces of content or products that are kind of generally in the scope of what you want to offer. If genuinely no one has ever made anything like what you want to offer, you should investigate that more. It's possible that you have identified a gap in the market where there is actually demand. You want to make sure that is actually the case, right? You want to make sure there's actually demand for your product before you put in all of this effort. Another way to do this is to actually ask or poll your audience. This is really great for folks that are offering educational products, right? I often poll my audience and ask them, hey, what are your pain points right now? What are you struggling with? What do you want me to talk about? What could I help you solve in your business and your journey right now? This is great, again, for folks that want to offer educational products. But when it comes to physical products, things that require inventory, I would never make financial choices based on the results of a poll, because the folks that answer polls and the folks that buy products can be and are often 2 separate groups of people. So don't make risky financial choices and do this in a smart way. And the third way to validate interest in your product idea is to build it and then offer it to a small group of folks for free in exchange for feedback. If you find that you can't give away this product entirely for free just in exchange for someone telling you if they liked it or not, you have a serious problem. Hopefully, you design a thing that creates value, right? That provides some kind of useful utility for someone. If that's not the case, if you can't give this thing away for free, you have a problem. And once you go through these 3 things, you will discover if you need to go to square one and design a totally different product, or if you should actually go through this idea. And it's totally fine and normal and expected if you go through this one time and discover that your product idea is actually not worth making, that you have this great idea for a thing, but the audience that you have right now doesn't want it. That's fine. Go and try and find a different audience or make a different product. But it's normal and expected that your first launch won't be a success. That's okay, but acknowledge that you can do better and try better next time. And if you're really smart, by the way, you will create a wait list for the folks that indicate interest in your product when you are querying your audience and seeing what the demand is like. Step 2 is pre-launch prep. If you haven't built your product yet, do that, get that done as soon as possible. And if you are building like a relatively high ticket, i.e. expensive or educational product, consider building what's called a sales page. A sales page provides all of the information anyone could possibly want about your product. It answers all of their questions and convinces them that it's actually worth buying. Your sales page ideally should answer these 3 questions. Number 1, what is this product? At its core, what is this thing that you have made? Is it a book? Is it a painting? Is it some kind of digital product? Say that thing. You want it to be super clear what you are actually offering. Number 2, who is it for? Is your product for artists that are struggling with managing their time? Who is your target audience? You should explicitly state this in your marketing material and in your sales page as much as possible, or at least give like vague indications. Number 3, why should they buy it? Why is your product worth taking out their wallet and actually giving you money for? And I think you'll find that even if you don't go about creating a sales page for something like a painting collection, answering these questions and actually writing this out is still worth doing, because persuasive writing is a skill. This skill is improved through practice. You have to actually go out and do this thing. And by writing a sales page, at least for me, I actually had to figure out how I wanted to talk about my product. I had to actually state in clear words, concise messaging, who is this thing for? Why should they buy it? What does it provide? And that was actually enormously helpful when it came time to market my product and talk about it, right? It made crafting that elevator pitch that I gave in Reels and in emails, in a YouTube video and a Discord announcement so much easier, because I had that sales page and I could reference all of that writing when I was doing everything else. It saved me so much time. It was so worth doing. Also, to give you more context here, the product that I launched was a live virtual workshop that was specifically designed to help artists write a business plan, right? So they would gain clarity on their goals, learn business and marketing fundamentals, and then actually put all of that knowledge into practice and create a business plan that was tailor-made for them. So that was the elevator pitch. And by writing the sales page, I kind of crafted that elevator pitch. So I knew what I was talking about. And it was really important for me to make this sales page because I had never done anything like this event before. This was the very first time I had done a live virtual workshop of any kind. And I knew that that was going to be a weird new thing for a lot of folks in my audience. And I wanted to make the messaging of what this thing is and why you should go for it super, super clear. And to try and make that sales page as persuasive as possible, I also filmed a very short 2-minute video giving that pitch like I am right now, basically. It was really good practice, again, for all of the marketing and stuff that I would do later. And I think it really increased the conversion of folks looking at the sales page. I think that video is just naturally very engaging. If you are selling any kind of product, be that a painting collection or a course or whatever, I think it's worth it to put your name on this thing and talk about why someone should buy it. Just talk about it literally at all. In the case of a painting collection, I think it would be really cool if on the sales page of all of the paintings that you produced for this collection, you have a short little video talking about your inspirations, your process, why you went about and made this work in the first place. What was the force driving you to do this thing? People buy things because they like the story, right? They like the person. Having some kind of storytelling or personal component to your sales page or your marketing in general, I think is really advantageous. Also, if the things that I've said so far feel a little overwhelming, I do want to recommend a really valuable resource that I used every step of the way of my own recent launch. It's called Kartra. It's an all-in-one marketing platform, and they have very kindly sponsored this video. Kartra is a very powerful all-in-one marketing platform that allows you to create high-performing sales pages, digital products, and automated sales funnels. I used Kartra at every step of this past product launch, from collecting payments, hosting the live virtual workshop, and keeping in touch with attendees before, during, and after the event with their email marketing tools. Their email marketing tools, oh my god, they are the most powerful I have seen on any platform. You can segment your audience into categories, like folks who are interested in art versus educational products, filter by whether they purchased from you before, and send customized emails to that person or that group. That's barely scraping the surface of what Kartra can do. I see creators and entrepreneurs here on YouTube and on the internet using Kartra to generate 6 figures in revenue for their business, and I am so excited to dive into this product more. By using my code KR40 at checkout and using the links in the description, you can get 40% off your first monthly payment or over 5 months off an annual subscription. That is crazy. This is the best deal you will find on Kartra anywhere online, and is a special offer just for our community. All right, now we are on to step 3, launching your product. Now you've got your product, you've got your sales page, you know what you're talking about, and you should hopefully have a way for folks to actually give you money for said product. That's great. Incredible. Good job. I'm glad we're at this point. The next thing that you need to actually start doing is maybe the worst part, maybe the scariest part. It's talking about your product, right? You need to actually start marketing this thing that you spent so much time building. What I'm about to say is really important. And if there's nothing else that you take away from this video, I really hope it's this. You need to talk about your product consistently in order to get results, right? You need to actually talk about the thing to get people to buy it. Not just one and done. Don't just launch it one time. Talk about it early, often, and consistently. So when I launched my product last week, that workshop, I talked about it in 15 separate pieces of content over the course of 2 weeks. 15 separate pieces of content, okay? Internalize that. All right, you've got that number? Good. I think that wasn't enough. I think I should have done way more. I think that the accelerated strategy that I did worked fine. I only had 2 weeks to talk about the thing and market it. I think that was a little bit of a short, compressed time frame. Next time, I'm gonna do like 25 pieces of content over the course of like 3 months. And I think that will probably be about right, but I will admit, it was a slightly aggressive strategy, perhaps, to do 15 pieces of content in like 2 weeks. So I first announced the product on my free Discord community, and I gave them a discount code for buying, and I announced it there first for a reason. That is my most engaged community, and I think it's worth it to give back to folks that support you, right, and are super active and love the stuff that you make. And it's worth it to give back to them and also to reward folks that buy in early. And then after I announced on Discord for the first time, I sent, over the course of 2 weeks, 4 emails to my email list, wrote 5 community posts here on YouTube, posted on Instagram, talked about it in my stories, which for what it's worth, I think Instagram for me was a waste of time. I spent like a little under $100 to boost my Instagram post. That was a waste of money. I would not recommend that. At least it didn't work for me. And then I did 2 more announcements on Discord and talked about it in 1 YouTube video. I think for me, I would eliminate the Instagram stuff. That was useless for me. I think I would scale back Discord to just twice rather than 3 times, and then I would talk about it in 2 YouTube videos. And I think if I had had more time, if this had been a normal launch, like, because this was a live virtual workshop, there was an actual cutoff point for when I had to stop taking sales. I didn't want someone to join halfway through. If this had been a painting collection or an evergreen digital product or an online course, this would have been a slightly different scenario, but I would have spread out that content, that marketing push, a lot longer. It would have been like 15 posts over a month or something. And even then, I do think that I didn't talk about it enough, because for every single one of those 15 posts, every single time I talked about it, I would get sales. Every single time, with no exception. And I know for an absolute fact that maybe that annoyed some people, for sure, but the testimonials that I got were so impactful. People loved this event so much. I created a thing that provided a lot of value. I know for a fact, like 200% certainty, that I failed to reach all of the possible people that would have been interested in this thing. I know for a fact that there were people who would have purchased this thing if they had known about it, right? And I missed some of those people, and that's on me. That's my fault. That's my responsibility to market this thing and get the word out about it, right? It kind of comes down to selling as a service. I think that if you build a product that you genuinely believe in, you think it's high value, it should feel like a natural recommendation to sell this to someone. It should feel like you're giving a good book recommendation to a friend. And all of that brings me to step 4, post-launch. Because so many artists just launch a thing one time, talk about it the one time, and then that's it. They're like, all right, we solved it. Case closed, on to the next thing. And that's just not how this works. That's just not how this works. If you want consistent sales, you have to talk about your product more than just the one push, more than just the one time. This needs to be a thing that if you believe in it and you think that people, should still be out there purchasing this thing, you should be talking about it often, even after the product launches. Granted, you probably don't want to talk about it 15 times in 2 weeks, but I think 20 to 30% of the content that you put out there can have some kind of promotion of your product. For me, I usually do a very brief, 10, 15 second mention. This video is a big exception because the topic of the video and the product are so intertwined, but you also can't go out and purchase this anymore anyway because it's done, the event is over. But it can be so simple. It can be a link in a video description. It can be a link in your bio. It can be an offhanded mention in a caption or an Instagram reel or an Instagram story. However you post online, you should just talk about the things that you offer. It doesn't have to be so agonizingly hard or a thing that you're a huge perfectionist about. Just talk about the thing literally at all, and you're gonna get at least some sales. So you shouldn't talk about your product just one time and expect immediate sales, and you shouldn't just launch your product one time and expect consistent results. I think that if you've made something that you really believe in, you can launch your product often. You can be like, hey, I am relaunching this thing. I am really proud of it. I love these paintings, or I love this ebook, or I'm so proud of this online course. I just added new content to it. Talk about it again. Launch it. Improve on it. Iterate. Just constantly make it better, and then you can talk about it more. I have a lot of videos on this channel about marketing, and I feel like this one is very rambly. I've recorded this 3 times now, so I apologize if anything I said wasn't super clear. It's very warm in my studio right now, and there's a lot of road noise, but I hope this video was helpful for you. I want to thank Kartra again for sponsoring this video and helping me put on this event. This was a huge new thing for me, and I'm really happy with how it all turned out. And yeah, there'll be more videos on the screen if you want to watch some more from me, and I will see you there, hopefully. All right, bye.